Appa, yip yip.
These
These are auditions for the Avatar. You came to the right place. Jake is smoking penis, coughing on it, choking on it.
Yup.
We back. It is Sunday. It is Sunday.
It is Sunday.
It is spoop time. It's 10:39 here on the West Coast, Oxnard, California.
What are you spitting?
About to spit a 16. You want me to spit a 16 right now off the top of my head?
It's spoop time. It's 10:39.
Nope. You're white. You can't do that.
That's what you said. You said it. I'm not gonna do it. I'm just the producer. I'm gonna be the guy that brings you to the top. I'm the manager.
When we get partnered, I'll spit a 16.
Yeah, I'm the capital investment. I exploit you. That's what I'm saying.
No Vaseline.
No. God.
We should change our stream time like at 10:30, 10:40, since that's what we've usually been starting our stream at.
I know now, huh? You don't think then we'll just start going over the line too, though?
Yeah.
10:40 to 10:50, then 11.
Yeah.
Because 10:40, if we start at 10:40, or if we say we do it 10:40, we'll actually be doing it at 10:50.
Exactly.
No, we're telling what time everyone needs to be ready for us.
There you go.
It's not the guaranteed time we'll be ready.
We got Leo in the chat, and he's the truth. Too much homework right now.
Oh yeah.
Cramming it in online homework unnecessarily too.
Well, not for me, but
yeah. But shout out to the struggling people.
Shout out to somebody's car is getting towed outside.
Hell yeah. We had other car anomalies today. I was driving to the bank today, and it was more on the other side of as Carlos was saying, more like towards the Boulder area. There was like a car fire. You saw this dark black smoke coming from that area. I was barely waking up, so I was like, oh fuck. That's it. Carlos is gone.
You never know.
You fuck, dude.
I was gonna go outside and look, but I was too lazy to get up.
You really never know.
Crazy things could happen. So
plane crashes.
Do you feel like it's been a long week or a short week? Because I was about to say it's been a long week, but I don't know. Actually.
I don't know about week-wise, but today went by insanely fast.
January's really already over.
That part's crazy.
Yeah.
And we're still... It's like with every passing month, it's like, wow, nothing has gotten better. It's real unfortunate.
More people are just going out.
Yeah. Travel of any sorts really is not, advised, not good. Just sucks. Yeah.
But no, I think it's been I guess it was only really for you. It was this week kind of. I don't know. I was working all week.
I thought it felt short.
These last 2 days had off. Fucking nice. Haven't had a weekend like that in a while.
Nice.
It was very nice.
Yeah, we needed. Have we ever? I don't know if we've ever just explicitly said people need more vacation days, more paid time off, all that kind of stuff.
4-day work week.
Yeah, we as Americans don't get any. It's so shit.
No, yeah, we are very overworked.
Not unless you're paid a lot and you get the benefits of doing it, but the majority of us don't get that much, or we don't get those benefits.
Good.
Michael's looking extra fine today.
Michael is looking extra fine today. I was pissed off. I'm over here in a fucking hoodie and some shorts, and Michael's got a whole fit on.
I know he's cute.
This is what I wore for the day.
Michael's got his hair done. I look like a bum.
Michael, did you see my suggestion for a segment you might be interested in? If we can get feedback in the chat. What if this could be other things too, but we could maybe from now on you could take note of the best comments and stuff you see, and then at the end of every month, or beginning of every month rather, that episode you do a segment where it's here's the best comments and then here's the worst comments.
Like in chat? like comments and shit.
Yeah, chat comments. We could adapt it to something else too, but yeah, maybe something consistent like that. Weatherman Michael, something.
Would it be like funny comments or like politically?
Well, it could be however you want to judge it for the week, or however you want to judge it, or the month rather. Like, hey, this is the best comment. I thought it was
So
like
Jose's comment will be.
Yeah, maybe you could say that's the best comment, or maybe you could say that's the worst comment.
Oh, okay, I see what you mean.
Yeah, whatever. You have the reins.
Michael
What
will be
chat
the
does-
weatherman
does
reporting
chat
the weather
think
in our
that's a good
chat.
idea?
Yeah, does chat think that's a good idea?
I'd get the worst comments. Yeah, we know, Leo.
I watch a basketball pod called Do the Wire, and they do that, so we're kind of ripping. But there's a bunch of. I mean, that's an old established idea. Like,
Listen,
comment
it doesn't matter if we rip it as long as we do it better.
exactly, and
Which
ours
we will.
is different too. It's Twitch chat.
It's political.
It's monthly, and feel free to tweak it too, Michael. That was just an idea too.
More importantly, people that are watching, fucking talk to us. We don't bite. I mean,
We can't collect. Yeah.
Kinda do.
We can if you want. Like, we do whatever you really want us to. But if you don't want us to bite, we won't.
Yeah.
We take roast requests.
We don't ignore you.
I don't think.
No, don't. We don't ignore you, Leo. I'll fucking kick your ass.
Ignore. Michael's pretty. Actually, no. He's not always that attentive. But
what do y'all think about people who work 6 to 7 days a week? That's nuts. I've done it. It's not fun. It's terrible. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. It was never fun once.
Pushan Brown, the lady who died, the mother who died.
We just talked about her last show.
Her sister claimed she was all the time working like 6-7 day weeks in the and labor violating all the time, all kinds of stuff like that too. And she was working in the COVID, as we talked about, in the COVID facility, not a trained doctor.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And something we've talked about even like way before that was using prisoners as people to load bodies into the fucking trailers, like all the COVID bodies. He's making prisoners load dead people with a infectious disease into trailers.
Yeah.
Talking about the prisoner thing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you remember that one? Texas and New York, I think they were.
So yeah, I think it was definitely Texas, but I think New York. I reckon we just hop right into the top of it.
Yeah, let's just blast this first one quick.
So Abram sent us this. Shout out to Abram. It is right here. I think you sent in this Al Jazeera piece. Reading for the top here. Military coup in Myanmar. Aung San Suu Kyi detained. Sorry if I butchered that. A military declared state of emergency claiming fraud in election after early morning raids detaining senior members of elected government. Myanmar's military has taken power and declared the state of emergency after detaining civilian leader, I'm going to butcher it again, Aung San Suu Kyi, and other senior government officials in a series of early morning raids that followed days of escalating tensions over the outcome of the November election, which the ruling party won by a landslide. A video address broadcast on military-owned television said power had been handed to the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, Senior General Min Aung Hlaing. Sorry if I fucked that one up again. The emergency will remain in force for a year, it said. Myo Nyunt, the spokesperson of the governing National League of Democracy, NLD, said earlier on Monday that Aung San Suu Kyi, I know I'm fucking these up. President Win Myint and other leaders had been taken in the early hours of the morning. Later on Monday, the NLD said, I'll just say San Suu, that's a lot easier for me, called on the public not to accept the coup and to protest. The actions of the military are actions to put the country back under a dictatorship, the NLD said in a statement which carried leader San Suu's name. I urge people not to accept this, to respond wholeheartedly to and to respond wholeheartedly to protests against the coup by the military. Myanmar's parliament, where the military is given a quarter of seats and wields more power through the proxy Union Solidarity and Development Party, was due to open in the country's capital, Nay Pyidaw, from Monday. That's a fucking crazy name. Politicians from states and regions, as well as prominent political activists, were also detained, while mobile and phone networks were seeing disruption. State media was also taken off air. Monday's developments drew immediate condemnation. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres said the developments were a serious blow to democratic reforms and urged all leaders to refrain from violence and respect human rights, a UN spokesperson said. We call on the Burmese military leaders to release all officials, government officials, and civil society leaders and respect the will of the people of Burma as expressed in democratic elections on November 8th. U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken said in a statement. Australia said it was deeply concerned at the situation, as did India. I'll just pause right there really quick from reading this. It's interesting seeing like what state or like what countries are talking about how this is a bad thing. Like just right there in that little thing, U.S., Australia, and India.
Right.
U.S. being the imperial power it is.
Blinken, who's saying
Blinken saying this. Australia, who has what is it, Murdoch? I think it's she. That's like I think that's the like
the PM or whatever.
Yeah, I think that's them. And I think he's like a pretty right dude. And then India, obviously, with Modi in power and of the BJPs. So yeah, I don't know anything about my Burmese politics really. Personally, I'm not gonna pretend that I do, but just from the reaction from these specific countries, it's interesting. And not saying it's like I'm not like a tanky. I'm not saying it's like a whole like psyop thing, but like it's like interesting. Like a bunch of like right countries or like conservative countries are saying this is a bad situation.
Yeah, I think the general attitude maybe we should take is this is just something we should tap, because it's interesting because the military is the one that took over, right?
Yeah.
So it's just something maybe we should tab on and keep learning about, because I don't know, a whole lot about Myanmar, like Burmese politics of recent, but obviously it's like a fuck situation. We know like the persecution of Muslims there is like a topic that pops off all the time.
Mm-hmm.
We know the history of, I mean, obviously it was called Burma before, and that was a British colony with India as well and Pakistan. And, all that divisions caused a bunch of, conflict. Like we've covered with that's fuck. We've been doing this show a long time, like way back with the Kashmir stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we'll just tap like you're saying, like whenever you see the U.S. Secretary of State saying something, you should be skeptical. But we should just keep note on it and just hope that whatever the process is, it's hopefully democratic, like actually democratic.
Absolutely.
Yeah, inform our own politics in it, which is that colonialism that's been forced on them, the persecution of Muslims, I didn't even mention like the Vietnam War shit too. That's probably affected their country, Laos, the Laos next to them and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, and
Did we get Michael back? I know we lost Michael.
Yeah, I saw he just like joined and left like 3 times.
They shot him. Leo says, "Why does Jose have a founder rank? What is a founder rank?" Oh, like original.
Oh, because
you don't have one, Leo. You're not a first.
I think it's because he's a gift. It's because he's a gifted sub.
Bum.
If you subscribe yourself and you're one of the first 10 subscribers, which I still think there's like 1 or 2 slots left, or like 3, like 2 or 3 slots left.
I got mine first. That's all that matters.
Yeah. So yeah, if you want to subscribe and get one of the 10 founder sub icons, now would be the time to do it. We have a few slots left, and you'll forever be a OG of this community. Maybe if you continue your sub, I'm not sure. I've never seen this before actually. Yeah, you see that like first that Michael has in chat? You're gonna have one of those. And
Yeah,
Jose has it as
forever.
well.
As long
I
as
have
you-
it if I type.
Do you get a custom icon? Just the first. We'll keep going here, people. We're gonna get Michael soon. He's almost here. If not, then we'll
Yeah.
bust out some.
Hello?
Oh, there you are.
We got him. There we go.
Is
So your
this thing
computer
working?
froze up, eh?
Yeah. I don't know what happened. Do I sound the same?
Yeah.
Yeah, you sound fun.
Okay. Yeah, everything's all screwed up right now. Whatever. Let me load up
Yeah,
OBS real quick. Okay.
Just like meet up and work on it. We're just gonna bust out some stuff.
I'll turn on my camera.
Oh, cool. But yeah, you can just mute and then get to fixing all that stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what the CIA does. They take out the most moderate of us.
Exactly.
Now we just have to sit in our insanity. Michael can't bring us back to Earth.
What did you guys do when I cut out?
We started talking about killing children
Oh shit.
in Guatemala. How Reagan, his history, and
Bing bing bong.
actually, real talk. We did talk about some crazy shit, kinda. I mean, we talked about the background of Burma / Myanmar.
Yo, with the subby. Thank you, bro.
Who's
The
up?
sub Jayhawks V. Ooh, I love it.
Yes, bro.
I love
Thank
the Sixers jersey too.
you. Appreciate you, dude.
Man, my camera is
Hey,
not
Guys,
turning.
and you got the badge on you too. One of the top 10.
Hell yeah.
Let's go.
Deserved too. Deserved.
They're really trying to sabotage the show. They can't let it happen. All we do is we cover one segment and we're done. Apparently.
Minty, there he is.
And then shout out Jayox in the chat. We play his music all the time. And during our breaks and the outros and the intros. He streams right now. He's doing 100 beats, 100 days challenge. So shout out him. Go fuck with him. All of his beats are fire. And he's
rate him if he's streaming
killing
tonight.
it. Yeah, facts.
We got 7 people. Not very much. 7 loyal people. We love you. Do you think I wonder if Jose is like the only one to have been on every single one. He might be.
Alright, I'm back. I'm recording audio right now.
I think so as well.
Or Abraham. Abraham's like a all-time.
Yes, bro.
Whoever's our like top person of all time, we kidnap them and put them in like I don't know. We should do something sadistic.
You say you want Abraham in the chat,
account?
but do you really?
Yeah.
I feel like he had a Twitch account.
Are
at
you
one point,
prepared?
though.
I don't think he has a Twitch account now.
Hell yeah,
Win a date with us?
dedication.
Yes, bro.
I give up on shit. Like, I gave up on my life pretty much when it started. So the fact that you guys are keeping up with this is amazing. All right, should we start?
A whole month.
Are we all good?
Yeah. Let's get back into it. I think you got this next one.
Yeah, I'll just do it. This one's quick too, because it doesn't require much either. It's from Maggie Astor. It says 21 men told me John Weaver, a Lincoln Project co-founder, sent them inappropriate messages, including explicit offers of professional help in exchange for sex. 11 of them spoke on the record, far more than I could detail in one article. And obviously, it's not funny, sexual assault, and it's awesome these people came out too and were willing to speak out against this guy. But what is funny is that the Lincoln Project was, for people that don't know, they're basically Republicans that are supposed to be like never Trumpers. Like, I'm never voting for Trump. I'm going to defect to the Democrats, but the Democrats have to do what I want, which is be even more, Republican and neoliberal. And these guys are shitheads and
pro-war.
Pro all the bad stuff. Pro-war, fucking all austerity of all measures. So it's just, there's nothing new with Republicans and touching, men that don't want to be, or sexually harassing people. But here's more. But contradictions. We thank the brave survivors for speaking out, of course.
Of course.
Because just I hope this is one of many things that seeds the downfall of things like the Lincoln Project.
More fucking rest in piss to a bunch of fucking brain poison.
Yep.
Well, I mean, that's why they have to call themselves the Lincoln Project. They gotta cloak themselves in all kinds of official platitudes and high-minded ideals that don't reflect what they actually push for in policy at all.
Not only that, on another level, it's like
yes,
the facade that Lincoln was a good president, and they're trying to use his name, but in reality, Lincoln was a piece of shit.
The never Trumpers, but they're creating a false history, kind of like Make America Great Again. All of them.
Yeah,
it's all a false history.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lincoln's the good. He's the good Republican when the Republicans were good.
Yeah, exactly.
Shut the fuck up, fucking 5-year-old. Just.
But hey, at least they moved slavery into a specifically designated area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Other than giving the people that were assaulted here the attention and to that story they deserve, we can move on from that because I don't think it warrants much attention other than that. This next one here though is important, so I'm going to read from it, and I think we can kind of use this as a talking point in general about even Bernie's towing the line now that it's for $1,400. That's Trump gave us the $600. Now we're gonna fight for $1,400, and it just nothing seems good, right? Like everything seems like So I want to read this one just to kind of sink in the despair, and it's important too. People need to hear this story so that hopefully something can change. It says over 4,000 neighbors at Ingersoll houses have been without heat all day. The 4,046 neighbors who live at the 21 building Ingersoll houses complex have been without heat and hot water since 10 a.m. today. NYCHA, the city's worst landlord, has failed to provide heat and hot water 3 times at the Ingersoll houses in just the past 8 days. Despite the National Weather Service New York tweet of a special weather statement stating that frostbite can occur within minutes of being outside, NYCHA has released no statement on what they plan to do to bring the heat to the complex. The website says that they are working to resolve the issue. And there, I believe you see the screenshot. It says Liza Marie, an employee at the Ingersoll Community Center, said in a phone call with Blinkner at NYCHA, employees had stopped by the center earlier in the day, but as of 6:30 p.m., had not provided the staff with updates on the repair process. She says, quote, "I mean, it's freezing outside," Marie said, "and it feels the same inside as it does outside." So, yeah, these landlords are just, people don't have money right now. They're just preying on these people. They're not fixing the heat. It's not just heat. They don't have hot water either. So you can't take... who's taking a cold shower when it's cold as fuck anyway? Like, you can't take a shower there. Forget about it. Like, that's not happening. It's just 4,000 people, and I'm sure there's countless other examples of this that are both in the thousands, but also like, maybe it's just a complex of a couple hundred people.
I actually have something really important to bring up here.
Yes.
So Status Coup put out an interview with somebody from the Food and Water Watch organization, and they conducted a study along with the National Bureau of Economic Research, and it found that water shutoffs and utility shutoffs led to like more than 15% of the COVID deaths. So because of landlords cutting off utilities, that led to more than 15% of all the COVID deaths. And that it's from the National Bureau of Economic Research. Like, it's a legit place. I think in Massachusetts. Yeah, it's like that's
wow,
that's
crazy.
Incredible amount of people, and it's because of shit like this, and
it seems the reason too. Like, yeah, if you don't have heat, I mean, people are getting sick, of course.
Yeah, those who are least able to deal with COVID.
Right.
Exactly.
And this is without mention, of course, going to disproportionately affect Black and brown people.
Exactly.
Yeah, which is awful. Side note to what that was really interesting stat you brought up too. But side note to that, like, look into your local food and water watch. There's a lot of like cities that have their own food and water watch programs in states. Also, shout out to my friend Jesse. He worked for. He was my friend we went to Politicon with.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He was in food and water watch. They do good work.
And yeah, Jay, exactly. How are you gonna wash your hands if you don't have water?
How you gonna? Yeah.
Hygiene, the literally most important thing about
brush your teeth.
Yeah, exactly.
Anything. Well, you don't. I guess you can brush your teeth with cold water. I don't wash my teeth.
But when you have no water.
True. I usually brush my teeth in the shower though.
Really?
Not usually. At night, I will. If I'm showering at night.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've done it because one of you guys were doing it, and you're like, "Oh, well, it's more efficient." And I was like, "This sucks. I don't like it."
You gotta bring a mirror in there, but then you stand the chance that you see your balls in the mirror.
Why would you need the mirror?
You can really get in those places. Think even the dentist, when they get in your mouth, they gotta use a mirror. They gotta.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah, well, we got off topic, but this
places I don't want toothpaste in.
Yeah, well, fuck you.
Yeah, how did we get to fucking where we brush?
What do you mean you get toothpaste? You get toothpaste. You're supposed to get toothpaste in all the places. What do you mean you don't?
You know you're not okay.
That's not what
You're not supposed to use a lot.
Did you know you're not supposed to mouthwash after brushing your teeth?
Yes, you told me this.
You
demystified a bunch of stuff
because the fluoride cancels out the it cancels out, or it's like your toothpaste has fluoride in your mouth. Like you either mouthwash or you brush your teeth.
You're washing out the fluoride.
Yeah,
like that, right?
And then also you're not supposed to rinse your mouth out with the water. You're supposed to just like lick all the toothpaste off of your teeth and then spit that out, and then scrape and get a tongue scraper and scrape your tongue. But yeah, if you wash water in your mouth after you brush your teeth, you're just getting all the fluoride that sits on your teeth and cleans them even after you're done brushing.
There's fluoride in the water though.
And it's turning the frogs gay.
It's turning the frogs gay.
So can't you just brush with tap water?
You can just brush with tap water. If you just add some minerals to it, probably works. It's probably what Arm & Hammer toothpaste is. We've already talked about this before. Fuck Arm & Hammer toothpaste.
Yeah. Okay, listen.
You can clip that shit.
Listen, number one dentist recommended toothpaste, Prodantix. That's the best.
What are all these names? How did they think of them?
That's like the most dentisty name too.
Prodantix. What's the Dan? I get the ticks, the suffix, the pro. It's like, the prefix. The fuck is the Dan? I don't understand.
I just stick to Crest.
Maybe Den. Prodentix would make sense, right?
Yeah, that would. Yeah.
But yeah, shout out to the houses in Ingersoll and toothpaste.
Toothpaste talks. Yeah.
Yeah, seriously, though, fucking landlords. Like.
Yeah, no, that's all of them.
To make this broader too, like, and why I pointed out the money in the beginning, like they could be helping people, like, be able to. People are too worried about going to their job and getting what little money they have than to actually like organize and fight their landlord. Maybe if they had a little money right now to get shit off their back, who knows? Like, that's other opportunities too.
Maybe that's the reason they won't give them money and they're dragging their feet so much.
That is the reason.
Americans spend a third of their income just on housing, I believe, or I think it might be more than a third.
So I think,
Phone
considering
bills.
all that, do you want to? I think we kind of have like a solution here.
Yes, we do. We have a. You want to go ahead and pull that up? We have another Gravel Institute video for you guys. It's kind of a long one, 9 minutes.
Yeah, we can go no cam here,
Yeah,
so people
we're
can
gonna
enjoy
cut
the
the
visuals.
yeah, because the visuals are super cool. Gravel Institute's awesome.
Yeah, these have been fun.
Yeah.
They're growing fast too.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, they're super awesome, and this video is super awesome. So yeah, we're just gonna let you guys watch, and then we'll talk about it after.
This is like the class in high school where the teacher would just show you like a video from a YouTube channel every day. And he's like, all right, enjoy the class.
Fucking
Thanks,
Mr.
I can do this
Hill
from home.
or Mr. Chase.
They just sit in the back of the class and rub their butt.
Well,
That was Mr. Chase every day, though.
At least Chase let the class show videos.
Chase is a legend. He let us play the Clayton Bigsby, Dave Chappelle skit in class.
The uncensored one.
And you think, like, as soon as it starts to play, he'd be like, okay, maybe we can't play this or something. He's like, oh, hell yeah. Some legend. Hope he's doing well.
Yeah, dude.
All right, we're gonna start this.
Let's run it.
Yeah, all right. Enjoy the video, guys.
Solutions.
American housing is in crisis. Right now, up to 12 million Americans are behind an average of $5,800 on rent and risk eviction. With eviction moratoriums soon to expire, we're facing an unprecedented wave of evictions and foreclosures that will crash straight into millions of struggling families across the country. But the truth is, this crisis didn't begin with the pandemic. In fact, housing has been in crisis for a very long time. Even before the pandemic, in places like New York or Los Angeles or San Francisco, median rents for even one-bedroom apartments could approach $2,500 a month or more. About a third of people in Los Angeles spend a majority of their income on housing. In New York City, about 20% of all renters pay most of their income to their landlord. And in my district, Astoria, about a quarter of residents have to spend most of their paycheck on rent. And the crisis isn't just in big cities. In 95% of all US counties, workers making the minimum don't make enough to afford a one-bedroom rental on their own. The Harvard Center for Housing Studies warns of a new normal for housing in the United States, in which nearly half of all renter households spend almost a third of their income on rent. That's why even before the fallout from the coronavirus started to hit, more than 500,000 Americans nationwide were already homeless, millions more on the brink of losing their housing, and countless families struggling every month to make ends meet. At the root of all of this suffering is the fact that in this country, housing is treated as a commodity, not a right. It's a consumer product, just like clothes or cars, that private businesses can sell on the market to make a profit. And if someone isn't able to pay, either because their landlord raised their rent or because they can't work for one reason or another, they're not able to stay in their homes. If they're lucky, they can live with friends or family, or maybe in transitional housing for a bit. But for a lot of people, they have nowhere else to go, and they end up sleeping on the streets. In December 2019, the number of people sleeping in homeless shelters in New York reached 19,000 people, an all-time high. 100,000 New York City students are homeless. That's more than 10% of the entire student population. Why do so many people end up homeless? It's not because there aren't enough homes to go around. There are plenty of empty homes. No, it's because housing people is not the primary goal of developers or landlords. Their goal, simply put, is to make a profit. And it's much more profitable to build luxury apartments for the rich than decent homes for the poor. This gives us a big shortage of homes for ordinary working people. For every 100 households that are extremely low income, there are only 36 affordable and available homes. As a result, we have plenty of housing for the rich, but poor and working class people don't have nearly enough on the market. So we have people scrounging to make ends meet or sleeping on the streets right below luxury condos and uninhabited apartments. This is a terrible way to organize a housing market. It might be profitable for landlords and developers, but it's not efficient or beneficial for the rest of society. In fact, housing doesn't have to be seen as a market at all. In other countries, housing is considered a fundamental right, like education or healthcare. That means the government goes to significant lengths to guarantee everyone has a home, and the market plays a much smaller role in the construction and distribution of housing. So let's hop across the pond and about 100 years back in time to take a look at just one example of how an alternative housing model got started in beautiful red Vienna. At the end of the First World War, the Austro-Hungarian Empire collapsed, leaving behind a number of successor states, including modern-day Austria, home to the former imperial capital of Vienna, the 5th largest city in the world. Despite being the seat of an empire, the chaos of the war and decades of neglect had left the working class of Vienna in desperate circumstances. Inflation was rampant, jobs were scarce, social services were non-existent, and hundreds of thousands of people were crammed into decaying tenements where overcrowding, disease, and violence were rampant. So it's no surprise that in 1919, at the first elections ever held in Austria where all adult citizens could vote, the Social Democratic Party swept into power at the municipal level on the promise of dramatic social and economic reform. And they delivered. The new government of Vienna implemented a huge range of services, including public health care and public child care. They built high-quality hospitals, schools, and recreational facilities. But their crowning achievement was an ambitious program of social housing, what Americans call public housing, that began in 1923 and saw 60,000 new apartments constructed in the first year of its existence, built by the government and financed by taxes on the rich. But these weren't the kinds of apartments you might picture when you think of public housing in the United States. Drab high-rises plagued by chronic neglect and underinvestment. Residents could enjoy leafy courtyards, wide-open spaces, and plenty of natural light. They had shared laundries, state-of-the-art kitchens, food co-ops, bathhouses, pharmacies, lecture halls, schools, and swimming pools. These apartments were designed to be both beautiful to look at and beautiful to live in, fostering a sense of shared community among the people who lived there. And the best part was that because the city didn't have to worry about making a profit, just about paying off their maintenance costs, these homes were both much nicer and much cheaper than what workers had previously known. In 1926, the average rent in Viennese social housing was about just 4% of a monthly wage. The first 15 years after Austrian independence saw its capital transform from a symbol of urban blight into a beacon of socialist governance. It became known as Red Vienna, after the official color of the socialists who had pioneered these changes. And even though Red Vienna fell in 1934 when the country was seized by fascists, who did what they could to roll back social housing, that commitment to good, cheap housing remained after the Second World War. Today, an astonishing 62% of all city residents live in social housing, with the average monthly rent falling somewhere between $400 and $600 a month, with subsidies for lower-income tenants. That is a fraction of what people in America pay. Unlike in the United States, where public housing is treated as a worst-case way to house the very poor, Vienna's social housing residents are extremely diverse. Everyone except the top fifth of the population is eligible to live in social housing. This means there's broad appeal across many segments of society, which creates the foundation for its political popularity. That is how the majority of people in Vienna enjoy something that's considered almost utopian here in New York. Affordable housing that isn't just cheap, but desirable. Housing that isn't just four walls and a roof, but a real home, with a sense of stability, safety, and community built in. Now, of course, this is only one example of an alternative framework for housing, and Vienna has not fully removed housing from the domain of the market. Residents still pay part of their earnings in rent to cover operational costs, and a sizable chunk of the population lives in private housing. But it's an actually existing alternative that shows us what a step toward a better world could look like. If we want to end the housing crisis, the solution has to be moving toward the full decommodification of housing. In other words, moving away from the status quo, in which most people access housing by purchasing it on the market, and toward a future where we guarantee high-quality housing to all as a human right. So how can we do it? We can start by making sure people who access housing on the private market have ironclad protections against abuse and exploitation. But to go further, toward the Vienna model, we'll have to go beyond the market. We can establish community land trusts to gradually buy up housing on the private market and convert it to community ownership. We can give tenants a right of first refusal to buy out their landlords when buildings go up for sale. And we can fully commit to a new era of social housing, ending subsidies for luxury housing development and using our wealth to build beautiful, high-quality social housing projects that offer good homes and strong communities to everyone. We won't decommodify housing overnight, but we know what we have to do, and we have history to guide us. And we know how we'll get there, through a movement of the multiracial working class organizing for the better world we know is possible. And we've already begun. I'm Zaharan Mamdani, Assemblyman for New York's 36th Assembly District in Astoria, Queens, for the Gravel Institute.
So, super awesome fucking video.
Yeah, killer.
Yeah, Gravel Institute is fucking... Gravel Institute is sick. They put, like, so much effort into these fucking videos.
Yeah, at its simplest, I like how they put it. Just we need to seek to achieve the decommodification of housing, and our goal should be to provide everyone with a home, because we can do that.
And we should
Not just
do
a home,
that.
with a quality home.
Yeah, and we should do that.
And we've talked about like housing,
yes,
in this like sense, and also we like used Oxnard as an example with like all these new houses being built, all these new apartments, and they're like super fucking expensive, and like I can't afford that. My dad can't afford that. Most of us can't afford that. But a lot of people who are coming in from Thousand Oaks or like Cam, people who have a lot more money than us, are taking up those houses, and that's
Right.
and like the video said, they're just there to make profit because they just want the money, and it's easier to make profit from rich people than poor people, and I think that really shows. I mean, especially here in Oxnard.
And remember what they said. They promised that those wagon wheel apartments would be affordable. They'd be affordable apartments for low income earners, and not look at them, luxury apartments are being constructed. They don't. Do
you know how much it costs monthly for this?
Those things are so fucking expensive, dude. I
don't know how much the ones.
I want to say it's like
collection side, but the ones on this side look pretty nice. Like the side more towards the
junction.
What they're calling
well, the ones where they built where like the gas station used to be.
Nah, I think it's more like I want to say it's like 3,500.
Damn.
I want to say, because because it's definitely
it's definitely how many bedrooms.
I guess the point of the video.
Because I know it's more expensive than where I stay, and where I stayed.
Right.
Like I'm paying like 24, 23.
2,900.
Oh yeah.
Still a lot.
Point is the price is the bad part. That there's the people should just be provided a home at least at a base level, and we should remove this. Yeah, it should just be collectivized.
Yeah. Hey, facts, bro. But that Bay Area pricing coming to bite our ass.
And remember, we did not pass rent control.
You know,
okay, how did that not pass? Especially
like quite a bit too.
Because lobbying,
big money.
And remember, 2018, I believe, in our midterms, Oxnard had a rent control measure that failed.
Yes.
That's why you guys should all go on Instagram and follow the Ventura Tenants Union. The Ventura Tenants Union is awesome, and they're working to educate the people on why we need things like rent control, why tenants need to be able to collectively bargain for what they're paying for. If I'm going to pay you this money in rent, you're going to at least provide me with the things that I need.
Yeah.
And hey, maybe it'll disincentivize them from ever wanting to come in here and build private housing again.
Exactly. But yeah, check out the Ventura Tenants Union on Instagram. I'm not sure if they have a Twitter, but it's for sure an Instagram. I think it's just at Ventura Tenants Union.
Yeah. Let's does anyone have like anything else on that? That was good visuals. I like those videos.
Yeah. But we can go ahead and move on.
Yeah, all right. Let's move to this popular resistance article. And we haven't really touched on this whole situation, and I want to I don't think this is just happening in Chicago. I think this is gonna. We talked about the opening of outdoor restaurants in California, so I think we're all across the country. We're going to see more restaurants, more retails open up, and in this case, teachers. And yeah, well, much like the housing crisis, the profit motive largely is the problem here. among other things. This from Popular Resistance says, victimized teacher speaks out against deadly school reopening. You can skip that stuff. Says Chicago Democratic Mayor Lori Lightfoot and Chicago Public Schools, CPS, ordered 5,800 teachers to return for in-person instruction at the beginning of January. Teachers who refused to return to in-person learning as the deadly COVID-19 virus raged through Chicago were labeled by the district as, quote, absent without leave. Their pay was docked and their computer access locked. The World Socialist website recently interviewed Jake, one of nearly 150 locked out educators. Jake was a physical education PE teacher at a CPS elementary school for 5.5 years, until recently. He quit the profession after being locked out. In a demonstration of its complicity with the Democratic City Administration, the Chicago Teachers Union, the CTU, has done nothing to mobilize 23,000 educators to defend the locked out teachers or to reject the dangerous push to in-person learning by Lightfoot and the Biden administration. Jake was one of over 915 educators who defied the district's order to return to school buildings on January 4th. While doing so the first week remote, Jake began receiving threatening emails from the district. Quote, the CTU was kind of like, well, we don't want you to go in, but you go ahead if you want to. There was no communication of what reopening was going to look like, Jake said. CPS attempted to resume in-person learning 3 times since the start of the school year. Everything was last minute. A week before we were supposed to go back, we got some new information. Everything was okay with remote learning, and then all of a sudden, within the last few months, they just rushed us back. The reopening plan proposed by CPS divided teachers into 3 reopening groups, a process the CTU allowed. And that creates a lot of division right there between teachers, Jake said. If they made everybody start on January 4th, everyone at one time would have said no. But you choose those 2 groups to send first, the preschool teachers and special ed teachers. I feel like both CPS and the CTU just preyed on that, though. Kindergarten through 8th grade teachers were to return on January 25th, and no date was set for high school teachers. With the pandemic spreading, Jake said, we were just the test animals for CPS. It was like, let's see if they don't get sick, let's see if it's clean. But I don't want to be the experiment. In a school district that is massively underfunded, many buildings are also dirty, dilapidated, and poorly ventilated. He says, quote, the boys' bathroom outside the gym didn't even have soap for most of the year. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we've all experienced stuff like that. Jake said, I don't know how they can deep clean every school like they say they're going to when they can't keep soap, paper towels, or working hand dryers in the school. So yeah, they're just trying to shove these teachers all back in to, both I think secure some semblance of like normalcy, because that's the whole Democratic output right now. Lori Lightfoot is definitely part of this Biden neoliberal mindset, but also, of course, it's profit driven. Of course, they want to get them back to make money for and just justify some parents, I'm sure, or like won't send their kids to school, or because they're just the profit motive in general.
I heard that the district and the teachers were like bickering and fighting whether or not they should reopen the schools, and nothing was like really getting done. And I don't know if this is necessarily true, but like the mayor got involved or something and said like, listen, just open up the schools, and if you don't show up to school, like if the teachers don't show up, then they won't get paid, or they get fired.
That's what it said at the top. They get their pay docked.
Right.
They get marked as absent.
But it was all stemmed from just like the district and the teachers just fighting over if they should or not, and nothing was getting done. And the mayor or something was getting like very upset about that because he was under a lot of pressure because he had to make a decision, and that's the decision he made.
Right.
Something like that. Yeah.
I think clearly, like, yeah, not only should they not reopen right now, but if they do, they should at least have a plan. And I think is the teacher they interviewed, they pretty clear they don't have a set plan.
Yeah. And it was a moment's notice too, like Monday.
Yeah. Yeah, the mayor just stepped in. Yeah. And shout out to these teachers speaking out on this too. And this is something, as it said, it was something that was happening at the beginning of the month. There's been strikes throughout all the teachers unions, but specifically in Chicago, they're always very active throughout the whole pandemic. So I just wanted to give light to that. This other article actually ties into Chicago too, and it ties into kind of the subsidy angle on the housing stuff from the Gravel video. Where is this from? It's from Block Club Chicago. It says Matt Asphalt owner gets $10 million tax break for a completed building under program meant to spur development. Michael Tandon Jr. defended applying for the incentive, saying there would be, quote, no industry in Chicago without it, as incentives make it attractive to develop in Chicago. City Hall. City Council approved a $9.8 million tax break for a development that's already been completed and is owned by a wealthy Chicago family and one of the world's largest companies. Class 6B tax incentives are a Cook County program meant to spur industrial development on vacant land or the rehab of existing buildings. City officials argue the tax abatements are offset by the economic benefits the development will create for the city, like jobs and a padded tax base. But a plan to award a 12-year property tax break for an already completed building in back of the yards, much of it leased, created a stir at City Hall this week before eventually being approved. Marina Crossing JV, a joint venture owned by the influential Tadden, who fucking cares, family, and banking giant JP Morgan's investment arm, built a $32 million, 633,057 square foot warehouse at 2075 West 43rd Street on previously tax-exempt land owned by a railroad. It was completed in 2019, creating 300 temporary construction and 64 full-time jobs, and is already 69% leased. Officials said at a committee on economic and capital development meeting last week. So not only is this place already done and they're already leasing it and they're making mad profit off of it, they're using money that's meant to, help small businesses, help fix broken down buildings in the Chicago community, or I don't know, maybe could, in the New York example, help heat people's homes, or in the teachers example, could make it safe for teachers to come back or make the online experience more optimal or something like that. Rather, instead, it's given to this already mega wealthy family and, of course, JP Morgan, to a building that's already been fucking built. It's so crazy. It's already been built. What the fuck?
See, it wasn't a tax break. It was a thank you present.
The fucking the quote he said in the beginning is the most like douchebag Chicago industry guy thing to say. Michael Tadden Jr. He says that there would be no industry in Chicago without it. I built this fucking city, Jack. You wanted to listen to me, cornstarch.
Cornstarch.
The seed corn and the pop.
And the kids are eating the seed corn, and
they brush down my leg hairs in the sun.
And there's kids bouncing in my lap.
Seed corn.
He said
it's
seed corn is a metaphor, though. We looked it up.
Yeah, it's insane. Such a fucking.
It's like a. I forgot what it was, but it's an old timey metaphor.
It's malarkey.
Yeah, it's just another way of saying that's malarkey. Yeah, you do an etymology deep dive on that. That's all we got to read from that article, though. I just thought it was interesting because it tied into, just all these ways we're wasting money, and rather than, spending it on teachers or our housing or anything like that, just being funneled to the already mega wealthy.
Yeah, it's
all right, Michael. What's the update? You've had time.
Seed corn is money that businesses spend at the end of a project in the hope that it will eventually produce profits.
Okay, so it's like sowing. Sowing your seeds.
It's like a pipe dream.
Well, pipe dream's kind of different.
Yes.
Or no.
Because a pipe dream, the element is like it won't happen.
Oh, exactly.
Well, seed corn's like you're sowing seeds, and there's like optimism to it, right? Pipe dream, it's like a pessimistic tone.
It's an uncountable noun.
Joe Biden's a expert linguist, actually. No one told you this. Him and Noam Chomsky worked on, I forgot all Noam Chomsky's books.
It's just like a type of slang.
We don't have memory anymore.
Books.
Only 100?
Yeah, only 100. He has at least, like, real talk, probably at least 50 books. And they're, like, extensive books, too, jeez. How do you do that? I can really text.
Yeah, and you have to write a whole fucking book.
Yeah, I mean, I can write papers sometimes, but I'm gonna be honest, there's no soul left in me anymore. The poet's gone.
The poet's gone.
We have one more video, right? Before we
go into our break.
Yeah. Do you want to kind of take it?
Yeah, I will intro it really quick. We have this video from Secular Talk. I was usually gonna do a piece on it, but I saw he did a video and he really just gets it all there in 6 minutes. So I think it'd be better if he told you guys what's up. It's on the subject of the Biden ending the contracts with private prisons thing that was all over the news. So yeah, he is going to give full context here.
So Joe Biden signed another interesting executive order that we're going to talk about. Joe Biden to order Justice Department to end private prison use. Now, when I read that, your interpretation is probably the same interpretation that I had, which is like, oh, that is unequivocally a great thing, full stop. Like, that's just positive. It reads like he's banning private prisons. No. Biden to order Justice Department to end private prison use. Biden to order the Justice Department to end private prison use. So, this executive order on prisons applies only to the Justice Department contracts with privately operated criminal detention facilities. There are 12 such facilities in the U.S., and they house a total of about 14,000 federal prisoners. So, you're only doing this for Justice Department prisons, and there aren't a lot of Justice Department prisons, and they house 14,000 prisoners. To put that into perspective for you, the total U.S. prison population is about 2.2 million. 2.2 million. And he's shutting down private prisons, or not allowing the renewal of contracts with private prisons that house 14,000 people. 2.2 million, 14,000. By the way, I don't know the exact number of, I looked for it, I couldn't find it, the exact number of prisoners in private prisons, because it's not that full 2.2 million, obviously. But just to give you a little bit of a sense of how bad it is in other areas, ICE detention facilities, about 67% of ICE detention facilities are private prisons. Biden could have signed an executive order saying, we're going to shut down the private prisons for ICE as well. He didn't. He only did it for Justice Department prisons. And again, Justice Department prisons, there are 12 such facilities that house 14,000 prisoners. So listen, is this a step in the right direction? Is it a good thing? Yes, of course. Would I rather have the private prisons that are contracted with the Justice Department shut down, and instead of private prisons, you have public prisons? Yes, without a doubt, because these things have a history of abuse and all types of problems with it. By the way, Management and Training Corporation and GEO Group and Core Civic are the main private prisons. But so it is a good thing. It is a step in the right direction. But it only applies to 14,000 prisoners. There's 2.2 million prisoners in the U.S. in total. That's, federal, state, local. At the end of 2019, there were about 116,000 prisoners held in privately operated facilities. Oh, I do have that number, which represents roughly 7% of all state prisoners and 16% of all federal prisoners. Okay, so there you go. At the end of 2019, there were 116,000 prisoners in privately operated facilities. And he's saying 14,000 of them are now going to be moved to public facilities, and we're going to shut down those private facilities. So 14,000 out of 116,000. Step in the right direction for sure, but really the next thing he should do is say the ICE detention private facilities, those need to be shut down. And again, 67% of them are private, okay? And there's a lot of abuses there. In fact, there's a court case about how at some of these facilities, they're doing forced labor, which, what's another name for that? Slavery. So that's what he needs to do next. Now, there's an open legal question. I don't even know if it's an open legal question, to be fair, but does Joe Biden have the authority to do an executive order to shut down all private prisons in the country? Probably not. But Congress would be able to do that. Congress could pass a law saying no more private prisons. But what Joe Biden can do is say all of the federal government private prisons, all the federal contracts with private prisons can be not renewed or shut down. And he didn't do that. He just did it for the Justice Department, which is a small number of the private prisons. But he can, if he so chooses, say all the other private prisons that the federal government contracts with, whether it's the Justice Department, whether it's ICE, whether it's some other government agency, those he can get rid of. But he only did it for the Justice Department, which is only a tiny baby step in the right direction, but he's got a long way to go. So honestly, listen, you got to keep it real. Even though this is a step in the right direction, it really is more symbolic than anything. Because if he really had an ideological issue with private prisons, he could have, in the same executive order, said, we're shutting down all the ICE detention private prisons. But he didn't do that. He didn't do it. So, point is, you got to keep these things in perspective. And a lot of the headlines are just misleading. They're just giving him too much credit up front. And when you read the specifics, the devil's always in the details. And it's you get a little bit of credit, but not nearly as much as everybody's giving you right now. Because everybody went crazy. I went crazy when I first saw the headlines. I was like, yes, he's shutting down private prisons. And then when you read the specifics, it's only 14,000. There's 116,000 prisoners in private prisons in the country. And he's leaving the ICE private prisons as is, and 67% of ICE detainees are in private prisons. So, anyway, it's always an issue when you're trying to figure out how to cover these things, because I'm trying to give it the most accurate coverage I can possibly give it. You know what I mean? Which means give credit where credit is due, but also keep it in perspective and criticize where you need to criticize. And so I'm doing the best I can with that. I know you guys, maybe some of you would put an emphasis on a different part of the story, or some of you lean more on the side of giving credit anyway. Some of you lean more on the side of no, this is sort of bullshit window dressing. I'm just giving it to you as clearly as I could give it to you and as accurately as I can give it to you based on my interpretation of the set of facts. But there you have it. These are the facts.
So yeah, nail on head. Just cleaning to the cut. Told you everything you needed to know about what's going on with the private prison situation. And at the end there, you heard Jane go ding ding ding. But if Joe Biden actually had an issue with private prisons, he would absolutely be pushing Congress to a full ban, as well as doing everything he can federally to end private prison use. So yeah, ending these 12 private facilities Yeah, like Kyle said, sure, that's a good thing, but not nearly as good a thing as he could have done. And specifically with the problems we've had with ICE and all the protests that have been over ICE in the past decade, for him to like very specifically not include ICE facilities in that, I think is a
Right.
big fuck you to everything that um, the people have been fighting for this past, since the creation of ICE.
Yeah, I'm definitely in the camp where it's like it's a bullshit window dressing move for sure. Because yeah, if he had an actual ideological stance against it, ICE would be like the focal point thing to go at. Because yeah, like you said,
Yeah.
that's what's in the news. That's what's important when on people's minds.
And also, it's just a lot more people.
Yeah, just the sheer numbers too, and it's bullshit to think that. I mean, yeah, he could obviously leverage, the House to do stuff too, but ICE was effectively created through executive orders through Bush. It's like could be he could have day one started dismantling ICE and made
Yeah.
like big statements like saying, "Hey, I'm proposing to cut the budget through and like pass this down through the House. Like, here's my idea."
But
And,
yeah,
like,
but it's important to remember he was part of the Obama. He was part of the deportation king, Obama.
Yep.
He used
He
ICE.
started this regime.
He likes ICE.
Yeah.
It's Obama 2, Bill Clinton 3.
Yep. Bill, Ronald Reagan 8. What was it? They all stack up. You could say it's like John Tyler the 54th, or maybe Andrew Jackson the reincarnated. Hey, Trump's a part of that Jacksonian
Yep.
narrative for sure. I can do whatever I want. That was Jackson's thing.
You know what I haven't seen an update on? So you know
Hmm.
how Trump increased drone strikes by like 432% or something on top of
Until
on top of what Obama did, right?
they stopped counting it, dude. That key thing, they
Yes,
stopped doing the numbers.
exactly. And I have
Yeah.
yet to see a single thing about Biden drawing down anything.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
So we're still running at that insane capacity that we were running under Trump. So don't think for a second that Biden doesn't already have blood on his hands.
Right.
Biden is already is a war criminal.
A lot of like small reporters I know too, because of the pandemic, aren't doing a whole lot of international journalism, so we're probably not hearing about a lot of stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we try to touch on that stuff when we can, but yeah, I mean, I'm sure that stuff's going unseen. I don't know if that policy's been changed either, where they're gonna start telling us the civilian casualties they have.
I
Because under the Trump administration, yeah, you said it spiked by like almost 500%.
and that, yeah, and then like you brought up, they stopped the count.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine what the fucking numbers are.
And
And
of
yeah,
course,
Biden.
Obama's increase was infinite because he was the first president, I think, to do drone strikes. Well, Bush might have during the Iraq War, but regular drone strikes, was definitely a staple of Obama.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good video. Good old Big Seltzer.
Good old Big Seltzer, baby. So on that one, I reckon we go into our first break. Thank you guys for rocking with us so far. Well, we're gonna be right back after this short song. We hope you guys enjoy it. All of our music is from local artists. So yeah, fuck with Oxnard, California, greatest city in California.
What?
So yeah, we'll 805. We'll be back after this short song to give you more news. All right, we'll be back.
heavy with meditating. I think I'm hesitating, still don't know why I be waiting. You gotta get up off your ass if you wanna make some cash. That's a fact, cause this shit don't ever last. I'm holding on the past and I don't know why I do it. Used to think that I was stupid, now they bumping on my new shit. I'm exclusive, you intrusive, only caring by celebrities. Guess that Cupid work it, cause now all these bitches mention me. Feeling like I'm hella free, I'm busy making melodies. Way I'm killing MC, surprised I ain't get no felony. Wish I would've listened to my parents, I know they was only caring. But right now this rap shit calling, I can hear it blaring. This one for the kids that just wanna get away. Looking in the mirror and can't recognize your face. I hope this not a phase and I'm still not so amazed. Cause all I do is blaze and keep up at my pace. This one for the kids that just wanna get away. Looking in the mirror and can't recognize your face. I hope this not a phase and I'm still not so amazed. Cause all I do is blaze and keep up at my pace. I took a step off a cloud for a moment. Stop and I stare straight into the abyss. There's a chill in the air and I feel in the bread. Because I don't got that tolerance. I spot the shadow of my lost past. Had to follow it, demolishing everything that stands in my path. Initiative with that wrath. Still I gotta get past. At last, I see a faint light up in this tunnel, but it seems it gets further every time I'm in this struggle. A muffled sound can be heard off in that distance. The misfits came up to me holding their 6 sticks. I missed it, but I never once missed you, because all that countless shit that you put me through. I stay awake at nights just thinking how to make it, and I break shit cause I can't handle all this anguish. The language spoken to me is in tongues, thick air filling my lungs. I knew I would die young. This one for the kids that just wanna get away. Looking in the mirror and can't recognize your face. I hope this not a phase and I'm still not so amazed. Cause all I do is blaze and keep up at my pace. This one for the kids that just wanna get away. Looking in the mirror and can't recognize your face. I hope this not a phase and I'm still not so amazed. Cause all I do is blaze and keep up at my pace.
Where are you at, though?
I think they got him.
He's late. I was late once.
Markham tardy.
At least once.
I was late once.
Well, I canceled 2 shows, so you can't beat me.
What did you guys eat for dinner? What was the last thing you ate?
I had pizza.
What'd you have?
Pizza Mandan. Or what kind of pizza?
Either or. Yeah, what kind of pizza?
I'm the late one. Fuck.
Yep, it happened.
You guys caught me in my fucking shorts.
It's like horse. We're all accruing late points.
I'm gonna get a fucking labor violation. Spoop's gonna cut my
pay. You guys
pay.
all wearing shorts?
I'm wearing pants.
I'm not wearing anything.
Huh?
Okay.
Oh, I forgot Carlos is recording our OnlyFans part for this week. Naked news. That's why you don't see his webcam. It's being used.
We were going through our dinner choices for tonight. What'd you eat, Michael?
I had pizza. It was pepperoni, Canadian bacon, and sausage.
Ian?
I haven't eaten since my lunch break, and on my lunch I had a chicken bacon sandwich.
Oh,
it was good. I made it at work, but yeah, I haven't eaten since then. I'm starving.
Come eat me.
Alright, we're gonna cut the short show, guys.
Thank you for
cut
coming.
The show short. I said cut the short show, guy. Cut the
seashells by the seashore.
Holy shit!
She sells.
Seahorse.
She sells by the seashore.
Seagulls?
Could we be making our insanity any more obvious?
No.
We, no, we have mermaid cheese on people's screen right now, saying seashells. Oh, fuck.
Midlife crisis at 21.
Yep. I mean, technically, we're in our old man years. Back in the day, you'd only live to like 25.
True.
The 27 club.
And I live like a caveman. I only shower.
When
I
would you
think
live
like
till 25?
like the 1400s, 1500s. You just didn't.
I actually
Oh,
read.
okay, yeah,
You
that
just didn't make it
sounds-
out the hood.
I actually read something that's interesting about that. Like in general, that rule's true, especially of like the like Dark Ages period. But actually, for a lot of period of time, like people did live pretty long, and in part, like it's that myth's kind of propagated to make it seem like, oh, life expectancy is just going up, and you even see now it's in the U.S. like it's going down. In quite a few
Yeah.
countries, it's going down. Yeah.
Very, very true.
I don't remember where I read that. It was something weird.
No, it's interesting though.
Carlos, what'd you eat for dinner? We got to get to this segment.
Rice.
A bowl of spaghetti.
Hell yeah.
Real Italiano.
We should have guessed.
Should we? Is that how we should do it next time? Should we like guess?
Yeah.
We don't got time for that.
I hope McDonald's.
that's
I hope
long.
McDonald's is
We're
open
too
after
slow.
this.
Not on
show.
this show.
You should give me something. So I'm
McDonald's is
hungry.
always open.
Oh wait, I thought.
Yeah,
wait,
but
for some reason I thought you had a car.
yeah, I don't got no fucking car, son.
That's
Hey, Jose converted his Prime sub into a real subby wubby. What the fuck? Thank
Let's
you, bro.
go.
Oh.
That's real people money.
That's real money.
I appreciate you.
Hell
I
yeah.
could ban him.
Why?
Well, no, it's just because the message came up and it said ban Jose. And I was just
After
like,
he just
"Oh."
gives you a prime or a new sub.
Are we gonna set up a transaction on our page? You can convert real money into Spoop coin,
Oh yeah, Spoop coin to the moon.
our
Make
new
sure to spend
channel
your-
currency.
Make sure to spend your Spoop coin in chat. Hey,
Get
you
broke
paid
coin
us.
out of politics.
You paid us, and Jeff paid us. We get half of that sub.
Don't worry, we automatically converted all your Spoop points into Spoop coin. So everyone who's got Spoop coin now, you're an early investor.
Yep.
Mhm.
Mhm. Wait, that brings up a good point. If somebody subs and you ban them, does the sub stay or does it go?
Yes, it stays.
Oh.
That's why you don't get fucking banned.
Spoop coin
Make sure you
for
fucking
food.
act right in the chat. We've had to ban a couple fucking, or one main guy. That one.
Those are one
Anti-Semitism
dude.
Yeah, that
ban.
one weird Q dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of nice we're not at the point where like that just infests your chat. So like we don't have time. It just has to rely on bots to get it out.
Mm-hmm.
In general,
Or
the vibes in the chat are very nice, and they're always locals and people that like to interact or international. We have
Yeah,
a
we've
lot of
had
cool
some. We've had
international
a
people.
couple really cool international jump-ins. We had
Yeah, that's always cool.
the
There's
German
someone from-
person, Chile,
Starts with a V.
fucking was it Peru
Venezuela?
Peru? I think it's Peru or Ecuador.
Purdue? No.
Purdue.
Purdue a country yet?
Might as well be.
So we got to get Spoop coin out of politics.
Oh, Germany. It was a Germany person.
Yeah, we had Germany.
Yeah, with Germany. Couple,
And
I
then
think we have a couple euros.
and then constable from Australia.
Australia. Yeah.
Constantinople.
Oh, I don't want to get in. Don't get in.
I command you.
Everything is trademarked in this reality. You can say nothing. Remember when the Fine Bros tried to sue to make react or not sue?
Yeah.
Like, tried to make reacting like
They tried
patented
to
or something?
trademark reacting.
What?
Would our
Each
channel
started
have gotten
reacting
taken
videos.
down under the
Yeah. Are we
under their
are we-
content?
We're
Are we
React
just like
Andy.
enlightened React Pog? Yeah. We should just do like we should just do like YouTube React videos now. Let's just react to like top 5 YouTube trending videos.
Daily dose of internet. Just
Jesus.
I can sit there and watch those videos all day.
ISIS
Okay.
beheading videos. I'd rather watch that.
That's not what I said.
I don't think Twitch allows it.
You don't think you might be wrong? Like you're unsure.
What
Yeah, I
can
don't
you
think.
show?
I don't
You
think I
cannot
said
show
that.
an ISIS beheading. On
Can you
Twitch.
show Bud Dwyer?
No.
What if you
dude.
recreated in a 3D
It's on
scene?
YouTube.
But
You
it's
still
It's
can.
historical.
you can't even show like people getting like beat up.
You can't show any violence. That's not true.
You know, like no
None.
no blood.
No blood.
Like if it's a video
not-
game, obviously it's understandable. But
Right. But we've shown stuff that's like overtly violent, I think.
never like
Mm,
blood.
not like TOS violence.
I don't think
No.
I
we haven't
don't
really
know.
shown direct violence to people.
We definitely haven't shown gore. Like
No, exactly. Like
I don't know. That's what I'm.
I think we've stayed TOS this whole time.
Yeah, we definitely had some triggering moments for sure though. I did in that one Instagram one where I did like the like flash thing with Joe Biden talking about the Iraq War.
Oh,
Yeah.
I learned how to play guitar so I could be in the Spoop live studio. Exactly, bro. Was
The
it
Spoop,
guitar?
Spoop Tucker band,
Jacan's on bass. Michael
the
on
Spoop
drums.
Brothers band.
Spoop Brothers.
Gross.
The Allman Brothers got nothing on this.
I mean, Ian did name the account like what Spoop Inc. or Spoop Incorporated. So yeah, we'll be expanding.
We're a multifaceted
True.
business entity enterprise. We're coming for it all.
Can't wait till I have a W-2 that says Spoop on it. God damn it.
Get in on it now, and you'll take ownership in the worker co-op.
Nope.
True.
This is an employer hierarchy.
Ian is the
It's
CEO.
true.
I am the CEO.
It's all about Marx till I get this bread.
Yep. As soon as I touch a little bit of this money, this communist act over. That's gonna become an American flag.
Lenin Dookie Sheets. God damn it. All right, I'm calling it. Enough tomfoolery. We need to start the show.
Yeah, let's get back into the show. So I had this really, really interesting piece as we get serious from Tribune. Tribune Mag is fucking incredible, and you should definitely all check them out. They're from the UK. I'm gonna skip around. I'll let you know though. So I'm just gonna start from the top here. How money shapes our politics. Capitalism's greatest myth is that it's a democratic system. While the rich dominate our parliament, fund our parties, and own our newspapers, real democracy is impossible. Progressives on both sides of the Atlantic have rightly celebrated Donald Trump's defeat, a viciously racist president. He never missed an opportunity to fan the flames of bigotry, flirting with neo-fascism. Trump ordered brutal violence to repress Black Lives Matter activists and incited far-right supporters to storm the Capitol Hill after his election defeat. If I had been in America, I would have organized like hell to get him out of the White House. But it would be a mistake for progressives to feel triumphant. The result was hugely welcome, but American democracy is not in a healthy condition. The difference between Trump and Biden is marked. But in an election where campaign spending records were shattered, both candidates were in the pockets of the billionaire class. Even before the COVID-19 pandemic, the U.S. was beset with crises. Working people in one's industrial heartlands were abandoned in favor of the financial industry. The healthcare system costs more than twice as much per person than the NHS, but leaves 27 million people uninsured. And its addiction to fossil fuels is pushing the planet ever closer to a climate crisis, with no other country having higher per capita emissions. These crises demand transformational change, and polling suggests that much of the U.S. public shares this view. 69% support Medicare for all, and 70% support a Green New Deal. And then getting into this next section called the billionaire class. But will the new administration rise to these challenges? It is doubtful. After all, Wall Street donated $74 million to Biden's campaign compared to $18 million to Trump's. Healthcare executives handed him $47 million. They gave $21 million to Trump, and 150 billionaires backed him, donating $569 million. Trump had 108 billionaires donating $250 million. Being so indebted to corporate America, it seems unlikely he will take them on. Biden himself reassured the super rich at a fundraiser in 2019, asserting that nothing would fundamentally change under his presidency, which is something that Carlos always harps on when we talk about Biden. Is that famous quote that nothing will fundamentally change. Whoever won the election, the White House was guaranteed an occupant firmly supported by America's billionaire class. Friend of the Tribune, anti-colonial activist, and president of Tanzania, Julius Nyerere, once quipped that the U.S. is a one-party state. Both typical American extravagance, they have two of them. This may not quite be true, but corporate America's dominance corrupts the country's democracy. As a result, it seems hard to believe that the new president will tackle the root causes of Trumpism. The descent may be allayed, but it has not been vanquished. And then skipping down to the next section called Capitalism Against Democracy. Billionaire press barons want to preserve and advance their interests, that is reflected in their papers. This ranges from direct interference, as the former editor of Sunday Times, Harold Evans, told Leveson Inquiry, explaining how he was often rebuked for not doing what he, Murdoch, wants in political terms. The more subtle forms of influence, like hiring decisions and the pressure to please superiors. This filters down, ensuring the owner's class perspective is disproportionately reflected throughout the publication, of course. It is reinforced by handsome salaries paid to senior staff. And really quick, somebody remember it was like a study, and it was since Citizens United, like however, like whatever percent of like the 1%'s like wants gets put into legislation versus like the bottom 99%. Like
Princeton study.
I think I forget what the numbers are for that one though.
Like how often the 1%'s interest is reflected in legislation versus normal people.
Yeah.
I think that's the Princeton study. I forgot. It was like two people, I think, principally, who did it. I don't know who they were.
But yeah, I was trying to remember the numbers for that one. And getting back into it. And usually these roles are occupied by people who do not need much encouragement to see the world from the perspective of the dominant class. Nearly half of the UK's 100 most influential editors and broadcasters are privately educated, compared to just 7% of the public. This shapes their understanding of politics, affecting what questions they think are important and whose voices are worth listening to. The same is true for progressions across the board. 65% of senior judges were privately educated, 59% of civil service permanent secretaries, and 52% of diplomats. Politics is no exception. The prime minister is an old Etonian, an Oxford Bullingdon boy, while the chancellor went to Winchester College, then Oxford University before becoming an investment banker. He is now the UK's richest MP. He is in good company in the cabinet, 2/3 of whom were privately educated. The same is true for 41% of Conservative MPs and 29% of MPs as a whole. None of this is an aberration. It is utterly predictable in a capitalist society. Fundamental to capitalism is the division between the few, who hoard wealth and power, and the many, whose labor creates the wealth. The division is unfair, condemning millions to poverty while a tiny minority enjoy grotesque riches. In Britain, 6 billionaires have the same wealth as the poorest 13 million people. But it's worse than just unfair. It's undemocratic, rigging the political process in favor of the super rich and entrenching inequality. To be a Democrat is to believe that everyone is entitled to an equal say over our collective lives. That is why we believe in one person, one vote. But that is not enough by itself. There is no equal say when a small minority use their wealth to lobby relentlessly in their own interest, buy submission with campaign donations, monopolize the organs of political communication, and dominate the upper echelons of society. It is not this minority rules in the interests of everyone. Instead, they jealously guard their position, rigging the economy, scapegoating minorities, and savagely smearing anyone who threatens their power. Just remember what they did to Ed Miliband, let alone more radical voices such as Bernie Sanders or Jeremy Corbyn. And then at the very end here, it's from the section's called An Unavoidable Battle. Some progressives think compromise is possible. They believe that if they lower their aspirations, aiming merely to tweak the system, not to overhaul it, this will acquiesce to their demands. But this is not an option for socialists. And to be frank, in a world threatened by climate catastrophe, it's not really an option for anybody. Socialists believe in a fundamental and irreversible shift in the wealth and power in favor of working people. As Labor's 1974 manifesto put it, we believe such a world is possible and that it is worth fighting for, and we know this will always be met with fierce resistance. We believe in a genuine democracy where people's right to say over their lives, their communities, and their society is not determined by their wealth. This is why we believe in reforming a political sphere which is corrupted by influence of money. But it's also why we believe in democratizing the economy, putting an end to the tyrannical powers of a small number of corporations and billionaires, and instead empowering the working people whose labor creates the wealth in the first place. Fucking weird Brit. As a party, Labor's hope lies in not wooing press barons or super rich donors, but inspiring that majority, the working class, in all its diversity, that can only be done with a radical program promising to improve people's lives and empowering them to take control of their future. The program can only be won through organizing and building power in our community, not taking anyone for granted. This is a fight for a more humane world. It is a fight for a more democratic world as well. Free from the minority rule of the super rich, it is a world where the people decide our destiny on terms of equality. That is the call of socialism. And then that's the end of the piece. Super good piece. Tribune always puts out fucking bangers.
Yeah, chef's kiss. That really puts a nice little. I think this is something we do in our show all the time, since it's like a live show and we start through topics and we just go boom, boom. We always try to find a through line so that we can justify why, how these all fit into a picture, right? Right?
Mm-hmm.
How they all fit in. And I think with this one and a lot of our shows, profit is that and is one of those narratives. And yeah, I think that was put beautifully.
Yeah, and incredible piece.
Yeah. We can move to the next piece. This is from Glenn Greenwald. I'm just going to touch on it quick and then we can talk about it. It says, reflecting the authoritarian climate, Washington will remain militarized until at least March. Going down, it says, Washington, D.C. has been continuously militarized, beginning the week leading up to Joe Biden's inauguration. Something we should we start doing that? Should we always gloat on that, like shit we called? Because I'm pretty sure on the pod we were like, oh yeah, they're gonna militarize up and they're gonna. I don't think we made a statement they're gonna stick around this long, but yeah, we're definitely ahead of the curve.
Yeah, we definitely knew what was happening.
But yeah, so for his inauguration, that if you remember, we covered it. It was 20,000 National Guard troops were deployed onto the streets of the nation's capital. The original justification was that this show of massive force was necessary to secure the inauguration in light of the January 6th riot at the Capitol. But with the inauguration over and done, those troops remain and are not going anywhere anytime soon. Working with federal law enforcement agencies, the National Guard Bureau announced on Monday that between 5,000 and 7,000 troops will remain in Washington until at least mid-March. The rationale for this is extraordinary. Sustained domestic military presence has shifted several times, typically from anonymous U.S. law enforcement officials. The original justification, the need to secure inaugural festivities, is obviously no longer operative. So the new claim became that the impeachment trial of former President Trump that will take place in the Senate in February necessitated military reinforcements. On Sunday, Politico quoted, quote, 4 people familiar with the matter to claim that, quote, Trump's upcoming Senate impeachment trial poses a security concern that federal law enforcement officials told lawmakers last week requires as many as 5,000 National Guard troops to remain in Washington through mid-March. And yeah, that's not only, and if that proves, I don't think there's any reason to think it's not going to prove successful, them extending this, putting 5,000 troops there till mid-March. Who's to say they won't do it till July? Maybe not 5,000, but hey, they could spare 2,000 National Guard there permanently, so no one goes and protests there.
Yeah, I was just about to say, and I don't think they're ever going to probably draw it down, because with how shitty the Biden administration has already been since day one.
They realized they slipped too.
Exactly, and they understand that the left wants to protest. The left wants to organize against Joe Biden and force him to try to move to the left. So yeah, they're definitely going to keep those troops there indefinitely. Maybe they'll draw down a little bit. Maybe they'll draw up, but they're definitely going to keep those troops there and crush anybody trying to protest against the shitty Biden administration.
Jose said, Happy Black History Month. It is indeed February 1st. We are now in February. We've gotten through the cold month of January. Hopefully spring comes soon.
Yes.
Yeah. We don't, I think we've already, in guessing that this was going to happen, you already know our stance. We're vehemently against the raising of troops in the capital because it's just going to come down to crack on the left and prevent our ability to protest and make change. I think they realized they misjudged like the right, and I think they're like, we're not gonna let something like that happen again.
Absolutely.
Whether it's crazed QAnon goons on the right or whether it's actual organized leftist protesters that are doing something for the right reason.
Fact.
This is gonna be our like internet. We had international stuff at the top, but this is gonna be our international segment. So we can pull up the Archide piece, and this is actually very sad, and I'll try to tie it in with these couple other pieces. It says here, social leader is beheaded in the Colombian department of Antioquia, probably killing that. It said the police of the Colombian department of Antioquia have confirmed the murder of the social and peasant leader Miguel Uribe, whom an unidentified armed group had allegedly shot and decapitated, according to Europa Press. Miguel Uribe, 39, was a member of the Community Action Board of the Ocali district in the Yarmo municipality, where this Friday he left his home to work in the fields and was found dead, reports Caracol Radio. It says, quote, the body presented gunshot wounds that initially caused the loss of his life. Later, the criminals they beheaded. They threw his head in the center of the town of Ocali, said the Antioquia police commander, which to me shows that, and I'm going to tie this in with the next Gray Zone piece, like, this could totally be like some right-wing funded, terror group in Ecuador, and they just kill this. It's no coincidence they kill and behead this social peasant leader that's organizing his peasant community. And not only do they behead him, but they throw his head into the center of his little town.
Yeah.
So that's a clear message that seems like it has intent behind it. Intent that is in line with some of the shit the U.S. has done before. Let's bring up the Gray Zone article to kind of tie this in. And we've talked about this before. We've covered the failed Venezuela coup. We've covered Guaido's association with Colombian terror groups, like literally taking pictures with like convicted, not convicted, but like wanted murderers and shit.
Nuts to think like
yeah, crazy shit like that. And this one here says, U.S. and Colombian governments supported botched invasion of Venezuela. Bombshell testimony from coup-plotter. A witness at the heart of the botched invasion of Venezuela in May 2020 has stated that the U.S. and Colombian governments were involved in the regime change operation. Coup-plotter Yaxi Alvarez said she met with officials from the FBI and DEA in Florida and informed them of their plans. Alvarez also revealed that Colombia's president, Ivan Duque, someone who Guaido's been pictured with, and his powerful mentor Alvaro Uribe, who is closely linked to drug cartels and death squads, were aiding the Venezuelan coup plotters. Colombia's top intelligence agency supported the conspirators before and after the attempted invasion, and Alvarez explained that, quote, they knew everything. But the Colombian government later turned on Alvarez and her fellow coup plotters and arrested them. Her lawyer has accused Colombia's intelligence services of setting a trap so Bogota could pin the blame on her and her associates and wash its hands of the operation. The failed invasion, which aimed to violently overthrow Venezuela's elected president Nicolas Maduro, was spearheaded by a Florida-based private military company called Silvercorp, led by former U.S. Army Special Forces officer Jordan Goudreau. Goudreau said in a breach of contract lawsuit that he had met with two Donald Trump administration officials at the former U.S. president's National Doral Miami Golf Resort to discuss the coup plans, and was told that the White House supported it. The U.S. and Colombian governments both repeatedly denied involvement in the botched invasion, of course, which was called Operation Gideon. President Maduro, on the other hand, said Venezuelan intelligence agencies had gathered evidence proving that both Washington and Bogota backed the operation. So, and my overarching point here is, and we covered pretty much when this happened and, all the stuff that's happened since. The U.S. intelligence agencies and private interests like, little military contractors in Florida and, terror squads and death squads and other groups like that in South America work together, and it's right here in front of you. That's factual evidence. They're doing that. So is there any reason to assume that that's probably also the case with in Ecuador as well? Like,
well, think about it like this: we openly support someone who is not Nicolas Maduro as the president of Venezuela.
Yeah.
Then a attempted coup happens with military soldiers, weapons, and military equipment, and all this information comes out really early on. And I remember when this happened, pretty much pinpointing this on the U.S. And that Florida-based company. And so, of course, the U.S. has to immediately wash their hands of it, of any public involvement. But yeah, even though this coup was definitely orchestrated in their interest.
Right. And I think, just another point in here too is like, here's like a big example. Like, we're willing to go for the big fish. Like, we're willing to try to topple Maduro, kill him. We were part of the plan to kidnap Hugo Chavez. But
they've done all kinds of stuff where it's not even massive like occupy the country attempt, but something like this where it's just kill the leader.
Right,
and that's the whole point.
They do even smaller than that, like with the Miguel Uribe one in Ecuador. Like, they're willing to kill, I presume, they're willing to just kill people that are small social leaders in small villages. Even
just whatever type.
It goes down to every level.
Yeah, squash the organizing efforts.
Yeah, because even Maduro in particular, he has assassination attempts on him all the time.
Because you got to think, like, if you have this left organizing, and they're also plotting to kill Maduro, and like, if everything spirals out of control, the left could possibly seize power.
Yeah, they don't want that. There's a reason they're trying to kill them, for sure. They're doing the right things, which is unfortunate that we lose someone like Miguel Uribe.
Yeah,
and hopefully we don't lose Maduro. Sorry, Carlos. Yeah.
It's just bad timing. But yeah, the way we cover this, we understand that like there are definitely right-wing forces in Venezuela who would prefer the U.S. like people like Juan Guaido, even though he's educated here in the U.S. But yeah, there are like rich people in Venezuela who'd rather have us come in and take control of the oil because
their own private capital interests.
Because we'll put them in charge of it and give them a hefty profit while we're at it to keep them in charge and keep the system running.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right, you see that in all of our occupations, Iraq. If you want to go further back, you can look to like English stuff. We talked about Burma at the top. Like they did the same thing with Burma. There was like rich state officials in Burma that were uber corrupt. It was part of the thing that like Gandhi's whole movement was railing against. In a lighter note, but also I'll explain it's not so light. Let's bring up this next piece that also talks about Ecuador. And they're about to have both their presidential elections, but also importantly, I think they're electing pretty much their whole legislature too, which was they do it quite similar to Venezuela, which we also covered. They have like the legislature is quite big, and it's like they have like some of these small villages make up the legislature also. So I'll go ahead and read this, and then I'll give you the dark news at the end. It says, explainer, Ecuador's 2021 presidential election. Amid coronavirus and economic concerns, Ecuadorians pick a new legislature and hold a first-round presidential vote February 7th. Ecuadorians head to the polls February 7th to elect a new president, vice president, all 137 members of the unicameral National Assembly, and 5 members of the Andean Parliament. A potential presidential runoff is scheduled April 11th if no candidate is able to secure 50% in the first round, or 40% ahead of the nearest rival. So I think in that regard, it's also very similar to the Venezuelan elections. The country has over 13 million registered voters, including 410,000 living abroad. Voting is mandatory for literate citizens aged 18 to 65. In the previous presidential election 4 years ago, turnout was close to 80% of registered voters. No, that sounds very weird for Americans. It says the electoral context. Like much of Latin America, Ecuador is feeling the effects of the coronavirus. Guayaquil, the country's business capital, was an early hotspot for the disease in the region. But Ecuador continues to struggle, and some experts contend it has the highest rate of deaths compared to cases in Latin America. Aside from the human toll, the coronavirus has damaged Ecuador's economy, with forecasts that its 2020 GDP contraction could hit 9%. Ecuador's oil industry, which accounts for 7.3% of the country's GDP, felt the impact, given that at the end of 2020, prices were just 2/3 of what they were at the end of 2019. As a result, President Lenin Moreno faced a $13.5 billion public financing gap last year. In response, he implemented $4 billion in cuts to public spending, aka general austerity for no reason. Instead of taxing the rich, in May. The move involved cutting the hours of public services, merging or closing state-owned companies, probably another reason why their oil industry is tanking, and reducing security spending. That same month, Ecuador selectively defaulted on its debt. Since then, the country has restructured nearly $17.4 billion of its debt with creditors. The step, alongside tax, labor, and fiscal reforms, helped Moreno secure a $6.5 billion loan program with the IMF. So you can see all these, Lenin Moreno is your general neoliberal. He's cutting all the social programs. He's taking loans from the IMF. He's getting rid of the nationalized programs, breaking up trade unions. Moreno will not be running for re-election, however. When running back in 2017, he was expected to continue the policies of his populist predecessor, Rafael Correa, given that he served as his vice president. Instead, Moreno reversed course, pursuing policies more friendly to international institutions and investors, aka, capitalism, big capital. But the moves didn't gain support. Instead, they sparked massive nationwide protests in October of 2019, the largest demonstrations in over a decade. In November 2020, Moreno's approval rate was 7.1%. The National Assembly, made up of a patchwork of parties, of which Moreno's País Alliance is the largest, has an even lower approval rate, 4.5%. Overall, 89.5% of Ecuadorians said they think the country is going in the wrong direction. In the same poll, 3 in 5 citizens said they wouldn't vote if voting weren't mandatory, according to the survey. This is the last part I'll get in here, so I can give you the bad news at the end. Because so far it sounds like shit, You had Rafael Correa before, now you have Moreno, who's putting in the general austerity. But at least people are like recognizing that. They're generally like, hey, this sucks. And here's the alternative. It says leading in most polls with between 20 to 40% of the vote is Andres Arruz, 35, a former Korea cultural minister and central bank director. Arruz serves as the candidate of the Union for Hope, the UNES coalition, a collection of left-leaning parties that support Correa's programs. In fact, Correa himself intended to run as Arruz's vice president until a court ruled against it. Due to pending corruption charges involving bribes in exchange for public contracts from 2012 to 2016. We've also covered that before, I believe, and that's very similar to the Lava Jato thing with Brazil, where they're just trying to frame him for bullshit because he has been a powerful leftist voice in South America.
Yeah, and even Evo Morales in Bolivia, they try to smear him with that. When they try to smear him with that whole
cooed him.
Not only they coup him, but even at years later, they fucking tried to smear him as being like a pedophile or whatever.
Right. Something we also debunked.
There was that far right Spanish news media fabricated the story and then just pushed it in Central America. Yeah, that was insane.
Right.
And it is something we covered and debunked here on the show. So yeah, the show's been going on for a while.
And to give you guys the bad news finally, so you have the full story of Ecuador, or of recent Ecuadorian politics, right? Moreno comes in, or Correa has all these great policies that really have bolstered their economy and their people. Now you have this the new regime, just neoliberalism, and you also have, like we just said, they're killing social activists. There's right-wing terror groups going about too. And then here's hope. We see Andres Arruz. I don't know how you pronounce his last name. Hopefully it's an alternative and people are actually coming behind him. But now and this is something we'll continue to report on, I'm seeing reports that people are expecting that it's going to be delayed, the election on February 7th, that they're hearing rumors that it's not going to go down exactly right. Which is to be expected too. I'm sure even if everything is aligned, I'm sure all these Latin American countries just have a general anxiety fuck, something could totally go wrong. The US could just, look, they just killed, a social leader. Why wouldn't they?
Exactly.
But yeah, solidarity to Ecuador. Hopefully they can have a democratic process, and clearly the people want, an alternative that is in the Rafael Correa socialist vision. So I hope that's what they get, and I hope the U.S. doesn't do what they did in Venezuela with Silver Corp and all that bullshit. So yeah, that's all of our South America.
Yeah, and then
we have our last piece.
Okay, this is the last piece of the show, and it's gonna finish off our international segment here. It's a short read, and something just kind of wanted to touch on and put in your guys' ears. So it's this headline from CNN on Twitter.
Put in my ears. I've never told a girl that.
All right, bro. Anyway, this headline from CNN on their Twitter. Poland's government put into effect a ruling that outlaws the termination of pregnancies with fatal defects, resulting in a near total ban on abortion in one of Europe's most devout Catholic countries. So yeah, absolutely nuts. It's as you guys remember, or some of you may remember, the last election or these last couple election cycles in Poland has been getting progressively fucking worse. Dude running Poland right now is basically a fucking just neo-Nazi. It's insanity. And yeah, with this huge shift in abortion rights is ridiculous. And it's just something I wanted to touch on really briefly just here at the end, because it's insane. It's something that needs to be talked about more, I guess.
Yeah, and it needs to be connected globally, because we love to talk about, and we should, abortion violations, the right to an abortion, violating that in the U.S., but we got to talk about it all across the world too, because it's all interconnected. We shout out Poland. We've covered this in the past too, how they did this effective ban.
Mm-hmm.
We've covered some cases in the U.S. I think as well, and also if you remember, I think it was Argentina recently just legalized abortion.
Yeah,
which is yeah. I know a lot of women, like my girlfriend, for instance, a lot of people are really excited for that. Like that, we got to take our wins. Sometimes that's really cool too. But in the same hand, you have this, right? Side note: Abraham had a cool comment. I don't even know why I didn't think of it. Like, what a betrayal of a name, Lenin Moreno. How's your name Lenin and you finna be a simp for capitalism? I don't get it, bro.
How your name gonna be Lenin, but you love Adam Smith, bro?
That's like Pete Buttigieg. Like his dad's a
dad was a fucking Marxist.
I think he's just like a Gramsci translator, though. I don't think he's just one of those like technocratic guys that he just does that. I don't think he actually believes
in like core Marxist principle.
Yeah, or just any of that. Or maybe he does. Maybe his son's just a piece of shit and he's not. Who knows? Do we have any final thoughts, boys? This has been for 2 hours, I feel like we got a lot in.
No, yeah, I agree. Yeah, we had a bunch of stuff to talk about today.
Just over 2 hours, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's all from us tonight.
Yeah.
I think we got
Spoop coin to the moon. That's all my thoughts.
Spoop coin to the moon. Get your shares in now. Invest.
Yep. Do not sell.
Keep watching. Rack up your
Spoop
coin.
Hold the line.
Hold the line. Do not sell.
Spoop coin to the moon.
I don't care what they are for you. Do not sell.
We're gonna get an Elon Musk tweet on the way.
You're gonna get a Tesla.
Yep. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think that's everything from us tonight. We really appreciate everybody joining and watching. We really appreciate that. We appreciate Jose for converting a sub to a real tier 1. Appreciate you. Thank you everybody who came and watched.
Jox Beaks too.
Yep, Jox with the subby wubby, and for just being super cool and coming and talking to us in chat.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go ahead and link our socials. You click that link that I just put in chat, and you can find us everywhere: Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Spotify. Now we are on Spotify, which is tasty. You can now listen to us talk on Spotify. Everything's just Spoop Podcast. Look it all up. Everything's at Spoop Podcast. But yeah, we really appreciate you guys. I say this every single show. Workers of the world unite, and it's really important that we organize everywhere we can in your city, in our city, and have solidarity with workers everywhere internationally, because we can never be a really truly democratic society if we don't extend that democracy to everywhere in the world.
Yeah,
and then,
we have look in the Lenin Moreno example. Like, he was the vice president of Rafael Correa, and he's just some neoliberal goon. Like, it's not about a person. It's about, we have to build these institutions strong, working class, so that they can't be. We can fight against this kind of shit.
Absolutely.
That's why I love. Yeah, you said, I think one time you commented, I always smile when you do your consistent ending, but it's good. It's perfect summation.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, that's everything for me. If anybody else has anything to say, go ahead and say it. But if not, let's get the fuck out of here. It's 12:40, and I'm really hungry.
I'll see y'all
I was
Wednesday.
getting really sleepy.
Yeah.
Towards the end though.
But yeah, thank you everybody, and listen to this Moth Moses beat.
Hell yeah.
All right, everybody. We'll talk to
Thank you, faithful listeners.
Yes. See
Thank
you
you.
on Wednesday.
Appreciate you.
Dog, this beat's so fucking hard, son. I swear to God, it's so simple, but it's so strong. It's just wild, yeah. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, fuck your bitch. Met her in my palace through the tunnels where she plummeted. Poor boy, rich soul, pull pork, drip sauce. Tiptoeing in my crock, cheetah print, slip-ons. Roped up velvet king, rhymes pure. Fresh up off the boat like they shipped out from Medellin. Tabernacle, telepathy, secret weaponry. Black stallion galloping through fields of your wettest streams. Big booty Bethany's, searching for Bill Gates. Bills paid, never built the blocks from the ill ways. Keep point sharper than the dagger held by Arya. Karma keeps you company and keeps me where the stars hung. Untouched and unscathed, nunchucks and Kango rims. She chew me like some boobaloo and swallowed up my baby fish. Fruity tank pimping, try for potency, I plead the fifth. The last of the Mohicans still walking with a gangster limb.
Well, I said, hey, your man is bona fide.
See, you a righteous pimp.
Shit, real pimpin' live here. Ain't he go? That's how we go. Like
Taking
that.
jagged steps like a cold power cold train. Freshes out the fire, we ain't talking about them old flames. We know things, get them bitches kissing gold rings. My soul's claimed by figures with no names, it's okay. I never hide behind the mask, I'm just posted on the app, just waiting for time to pass. Cause bad's back to back, that's through the looking glass. I dip into my stash, pack a bowl that's full of hash. Listen, I only got the time for precision, so stay out of my vision if you ain't making decisions. I'm living on top of this cloud, I roll around like Gohan. And I'm just saying I'm so strong, you're so wrong. And y'all can't match with these giants in the fire we supplying from the highlands to the islands. The sirens, they calling your name into the rocky shore. Walking to the store, what's your hands inside your pockets for?
I'm getting more bail money than I'm getting tail money.
Jack, I can do